Hello everyone, this is Helios Raven. I tell you how I do it, even if you don't care. And today we're going to continue our in-depth look into the forces of Battlefleet Gothic. And we just finished all the races in the core rulebook, and so we're moving on to the races that were introduced in the Armada Handbook. And the first one on our list is going to be the Space Marines. The Space Marines were introduced with the Armada Handbook to kind of counteract the Chaos Forces and the Ork Forces, surprisingly. And when they came out, they basically did say that the ships had to be used with a certain fleet list that they gave us. We'll talk about that in a moment. And they did give out some Imperial Navy fleet lists that did involve the Space Marine vessels, but they weren't anything big. Like one would say, you could have a space cruiser or this or that in it. And for the most part, they said that you couldn't mix the two armies, as in, say, have an Imperial Navy vessel with Space Marine vessels in reserve, and vice versa, no Space Marine army with Imperial Navy vessels in reserves and all that. But you could ally the forces together as normal and all that good stuff. And so let's continue on. First, we're going to look at the special rules that were introduced with the Space Marines, and the first one was their leadership. Space Marines had basically, in a sense, the same leadership status as the Eldar. On a roll of a 1 or 2, they had a leadership of 8. On a 3 or 4, they had a leadership of 9. And on a 5 and a 6, they have a leadership of 10. They also, when performing boarding actions, they add a +2 to their D6 roll, and they add a +1 when they make hit-and-run attacks. An enemy hit-and-run attacks against a Space Marine deducts 1 from their dice rolls, and so will fail on a roll of a 1 or a 2 before modification. And during planetary assault and exterminus missions, what it was is in planetary assault scenarios, they earned their battle barges, their strike cruisers and their battle barges earned 2 assault points for every turn they spend landing troops or bombarding the planet, rather than 1. And in addition, once you can use the battle barge in an extermination mission, and once a battle barge is in position to exterminate the planet, you need to roll a 3+ to do so rather than a 4+ in these case missions. They also introduced a new weapon, which was called the Bombardment Cannon. The Bombardment Cannon, as we mentioned with the Orks, is a weapon that's basically a superpowered weapon battery, and it functioned the same way as any normal weapon batteries, with 2 exceptions. The first is the Bombardment Cannon always hits on a 4+, regardless of target's armor, even against ordnance, and it inflicts critical hits on a 4+ or more rather than a normal 6. They also, in the ordnance phase, introduced Thunderhawk gunships, and what this entailed was they acted like fighters and assault boats moving at 20 speed, and they also had a 4+ save to not get removed when they encountered another marker. And this also and like with any other vessel, like an Eldar vessel, you both roll off, and there's a chance that none of you will have to remove the fighter itself, but they can only remove 1 unit per. They can't one unit can't remove an entire wave of them, it seems, I guess. And also, if they stop moving and something connects with them, they still get their 4+ save. And let's see, also, when it moves into contact with an enemy ship, they are treated exactly as assault boats, with the +1 bonus to their hit-and-run attacks. Using its 4+ save does not prevent it from attacking a ship if in base contact with one when stopped. And once the Thunderhawk gunship marker has done its hit-and-run attack, it is removed from play. So it basically is a fighter and an assault boat. And because of this, the Space Marines didn't get any get any bombers, anything, so they kind of lost out on that payload. And also, now that was it for their special rules. Another thing that they did was their fleet list, and their fleet list involved, let's see, let me just pull it up right here. You could purchase a fleet commander, and you needed to have one in your army if your vessel was 750 points or more, and he incurred a +10 leadership, a 10 leadership to the vessel he was on, and he must be assigned to a battle barge in preference to a strike cruiser. So if there's a battle barge on the field, it has to have the fleet commander in it. And he can purchase re-rolls up to 3. And he may carry Terminator boarding parties for 50 points. Basically, once per battle, you may use the Terminators in the teleport attack. All normal rules for teleport attacks apply, except that this teleport attack may be made in addition to a normal teleport attack that turn. The Terminator teleport attack rolls 2 dice for its hit and run attack, and applies both results, including the normal +1 bonus for being Space Marines. Once the Terminators have performed their attack, they may not be used for the rest of the battle. So basically, for an additional 50 points, you got a second hit and run attack you can use once per game, and like I said, you can do a hit and run attack and then the Terminator hit and run attack, and it gets 2d6 on its roll and adds the +1 bonus as normal. It could have up to you could have up to 3 battle barges for every 1,000 points, or part therefore in your fleet, and you could have up to 10 strike cruisers, and you could have any number of escorts. And any ship with launch base carries Thunderheart gunships. Ships with torpedo tubes are armed with ordinary torpedoes and boarding torpedoes. And they were basically designed to be anti-chaos and anti-orc. They're great in close combat. Their long range is a little iffy because they lack lances, but mostly have weapon batteries to go with. And they didn't have many ships to choose one from, so that kind of hindered their collection of model collectivity but made it a little bit easier since you didn't have to worry about, thinking about which ships you are. But since they were very specialized, there wasn't really any need for so many ship vessels with them, same like with the Eldar and the Orks. And so that was the one thing, creatively they weren't really that great because they kind of hindered the model choices that you had, but it's not something to fault them for. Their biggest strength is getting close combat when they can maximize their number of weapon battery dies, so it was best to deal with these Space Marines from a distance. And that's basically it to get us started with our introduction. And one thing I just want to note for all the Battlefleet Gothic players out there who watch this video and still play the game or anything, one of my associates mentioned to me that a while ago Specialist Games had more PDF files available for more rules. I guess they took them off when they realized there weren't any models for these PDF rules systems, so they took them off just so no one was sitting there complaining, where are these models, why can't I get them and such. And a lot of them were Space Marine hulks, for Space Marines to have giant space hulks in their armies and such. And I'm trying to find if anyone knows where I can get a set of the rules for. I'm looking for the rules for the Rock, the Dark Angel's Space Hulk. Well, I don't know if it counted as the Dark Angel Space Hulk or if it was a special thing for them. I'm really looking for the Dark Angel Space Hulk rules and most importantly, the Rock special rules, because I'm a big Dark Angel fan at heart. They're basically the only Space Marine army I play, or a sister chapter to them. And I really would like the rules for the Rock so I can do a really neat campaign with my friends that I came up with. And yeah, I could just make up my own rules for them using the Orc Space Hulk as my basis, but I'm very terrible at making a balanced model setup, so I try to use pre-made stuff. So if anybody knows where I could get the rules for the Rock and the Dark Angel Space Hulk, I'll take that as well. But the Rock is top priority, what I really want to have. And if you could just put a link in the description of the video, that would be great. I would be much obliged, and I know a bunch of my friends would, because we were really upset that we didn't get to download the files before they were lost. We weren't really playing Battlefleet Gothic when they were available, and now that we are, we kind of want the special rules for the Space Marine Hulks. And another friend of mine who is also a Dark Angel fan is the one who mentioned that the Rock had rules. We're just really dying to get the rules for that model. So if you can, that would be great. Just post a link on the comment section. I'll be forever in your debt. And let's get on with the in-depth look of the Space Marines. So until next time, this is Helios Raven signing off.